Well, here we are in Edinburgh for the Alapa Weekly Update, and I'm sporting my new Alapa campaign sweatshirt. Good for the local elections. Mind you, the hoodie which I'm modelling here might be rather better for the weather for the local elections. Now, Boris Johnson in London is in deep trouble, and deservedly so. I mean, he's a disreputable, deceitful, totally disorganised Prime Minister, probably the worst in living memory, and he'll be out on his neck at some point this year. He'll be out on his neck because whatever happens to the immediate scandals, they'll come along like London buses for Boris Johnson. But like the old Russian fable of the scorpion and the frog. You know, the frog takes the scorpion across the river, says he won't sting him, but he does sting him. They both drown. As they're dying, the frog said to the scorpion, "Why did you sting me? We're both going to drown." And the scorpion says, "I can't help it. It's in my nature." Well, it's in Boris Johnson's nature to have scandals. The Tories know that, so at some point of the year, they'll get rid of him. But the question we should be asking is, who comes next? Because it's not the task of Alapa, and it shouldn't be the task of Scottish politicians to replace Boris Johnson by another Tory. Particularly when that Tory will be more organised, more popular, more formidable and more ruthless than Boris Johnson, as Chancellor Rishi Sunak would most certainly be. It's our job to stop people like Boris Johnson governing Scotland. Not to remove this Prime Minister, but to remove all English Tory Prime Ministers from running our country. That is the task. And the other thing we've got to ask ourselves is, given the total disorganisation of people like Johnson and Michael Gove and the rest of them, then why on earth haven't we been pushing the independence question? We don't get a better opportunity than to have the weakness at the very top of London government. And that weakness, that difficulty for London should be Scotland's opportunity. And yet we're going to celebrate the passing of Boris Johnson, and with it the chance to make our move for Scotland's democracy when the London government is at its weakest. I think Rishi Sunak would be an overwhelming favourite to the Tory leadership just now. A man, remember, who cut universal benefit, the greatest cut in the welfare state, in the history of the welfare state. 20% of the poorest families in the country. That's a hardline Tory Chancellor. And a Tory Chancellor who won't have an election for another 2 years plus, because he'll want to play himself in, and he'll have a much better chance of winning the election than disorganised, disreputable Boris Johnson. Behind me is Edinburgh Castle, the defender of the nation. Now, it's the job of Alapa, it's the job of all Scottish politicians to defend our nation, not just against this Tory Prime Minister, but against all Tory Prime Ministers. Now, while Westminster is fascinated, transfixed by the future of Boris Johnson, Alapa are getting on discussing the future of Scotland, and that's why you should sign up for tomorrow's National Assembly, which is going to be great fun, talking about Scotland's future in Europe and independent Scotland, the EFTA option, a distinguishing feature of Alapa policy. Make sure you join in to our National Assembly. We'll see you all again next week.